Welcome to Tone2 Icarus.
All right, so what we are looking at here is Icarus2 from Tone2, and about a week ago, somebody recommended this synthesizer to me. You know who you are. Thank you very much, by the way. I actually took your advice upon that, and thank you to Tone2 for letting me try this cool synth out. So the first thing you'll probably notice is how huge this synthesizer is, and the first time I loaded it up, I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. It fills up my entire screen, because a lot of the times I work on my laptop, and generally, when the plugins are really tiny, it's kind of frustrating to work with. So it's really cool how this basically takes up the whole screen. To each his own, but I kind of like that. So basically, there's a lot of cool things in here. This is one of those synthesizers that's going to take you quite a long time to really know everything about it, because there's just a lot of stuff to it. But on the plus side, it's pretty easy to use, right? There's like everything's on the front page. It took me about, I want to say 20 minutes of just kind of concentrating on this to kind of figure out where everything's at, what things do, and all that. But anyway, I kind of want to show you a couple things I put together here. So we have our main preset window up here. So let's go down to my little folder I made, kind of just a basic init preset. Probably the best preset ever to be created, because I just love init presets. That's one of the first things I like doing with a synthesizer. The first time I load it up, I like to just put up a basic saw wave, zero everything out, especially the volume envelope, so it's kind of like that, no sustain, nothing like that. I did take the equalizer off, so it's just kind of pretty basic. But the first thing I really noticed about this synthesizer, more so than other synthesizers, is the top end. There's a lot of high-end content up there. And I wasn't really used to that, and I was like, this is actually pretty interesting, the things that we can make from that. So based upon that, I made some interesting patches here. So one of the first ones here was this ARP industrial metal thing. We're going to get into some of the cool features and the filters in just a little moment here. But this setting here, glitch, is actually really cool. So you have all these different parameters that you can basically map almost in a sequence kind of fashion, right? We can see here that we have a little bit of panning going on, a little bit of degrading when these notes get hit, which is actually pretty awesome here as well. So moving on from here, I went to this lead nasty and dirty, because that's just what I do. I like making nasty and dirty things, you know what I'm saying? Pretty simplistic patch, all things considered, but it sounds pretty cool here as well. So the next one, what was it? This kind of like acidy kind of thing, because there's this cool filter I found here, this LP303 analog, which sounds pretty interesting. Yeah, sounds kind of nasty as well. And I think that's all I did for the moment. Yeah, so let's go to a new preset here. So we can go to the file, and actually, I'll just use my init preset here as well. Because why? I should use that because I made it, and it didn't take too much long. Anyway, so basically what we're looking at here, we have 3 oscillators over here. We have our volume envelope. We have a couple of regular envelopes here that we can use, or one for our filter, a couple auxes here as well. And then we have 2 filters. And the cool part is, obviously, you want a good oscillator, a good couple oscillators, and then the filters, right? So you click down here, and there's actually a lot more than I anticipated. So yeah, you can go through a lot of these and just really spend a couple days just having fun with a lot of these. Some of my favorite things here. So for example, we basically have this, right? And for a little bit of time, I was kind of looking for the unison button, right? How are we going to add these orders of unison? But here in Icarus, it's just a little bit different here. So on this left-hand side where it says mono is what we're listening to. So here we have a couple different choices of things that we can change, right? So we can make this a stereo. We can kind of see these 2 voices here, and then we can detune these, and we see these 2 little kind of fins or triangles that kind of move accordingly. And then we have a couple other ones here, like over here in the Hypersaw 5, for example. And that's one of the things I like doing as well, is dialing up a saw wave, putting some unison on it, checking the detune, kind of seeing how that feels. Does it feel right? There's some synthesizers that sound pretty good, and there's some of them that you have to put in a little extra work. So like Citrus, for example, the unison right off the bat doesn't sound that great, but you just have to go and kind of just manually make your unison for it to really come alive. So yeah, moving on from here, there's kind of a lot of stuff too. We have the Hyper 7 and 9, then the Super Saw, which is kind of cool as well. And then dropping that down another octave here. Like, it seems very easy, at least for me, to get nice aggressive sounds out of these as well. And it's also a very complex wavetable synthesizer as well. So you go up here in the editor, you have a lot of different tools here that you can go and create your own wavetables if that's something you're interested in doing. And what's kind of nice as well, so we can kind of see this preview here, and we can scroll up with our mouse wheel to kind of go through all the different waves inside this table here. Or we can go for the wave here and kind of blend through them there. Then we can go ahead and turn this guy on here as well and kind of see what it sounds like with another saw. Okay, so we kind of got a basic sound here. So this one's what, down one, this one's up one. So let's maybe bring this one down. Maybe give this guy a stereo. Oh, that's nasty. So right off the bat, like, we haven't even really touched the filters and we're already getting that kind of sound. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so let's kind of check out some of these filters here. So by default, it comes with this LP Butter 24. I don't really know what butter means. Maybe it's smooth, I guess. I don't know. And what's nice as well, if we look on the bottom right-hand side of the filter, we see this drive knob over here. And right now the distortion is off. And if we kind of turn this here, it'll go to soft clip. And this distortion on this filter is pretty nice. So that's just this first one. There is quite a lot to go through here. So some of my favorites, just to kind of showcase some of these, is this Tone2 Scream, because this almost reminds me a lot of kind of an MS-20 type of filter or a Polyvox type of filter that's just kind of gritty and nasty, especially when we have this drive knob that high up there. It's also kind of quick to move. So for like, okay, let's just modulate this when we press a key or something like that. Let's bring that resonance down just a bit here. So we just have this filter envelope. We can just turn this to the right a little bit. And then it's already basically mapped here. And we can just dial this into how we want to. So maybe we want it to go a little bit slower once we start decaying here. Maybe give us a little bit of a release overall for a volume envelope. I kind of match the release with this decay here as close as we can. Some key tracking. Okay, so that's already pretty cool. We have a couple saw waves going through a filter, which this one's pretty nice here as well. We also have a second filter if that's something we want to do. So just kind of pointing that out there. A couple M-segs now that I'm thinking about it here, which is nice as well. So if we go over here to the effects, there's quite a lot to choose from. So we have 3 of these effect slots, and we can just go down here where it says bypass, and there's quite a list of different stuff we can go through, a lot of different reverbs, delays, chorus, phaser, flanging, panning, EQ, distortion, lo-fi, stereo imaging, and some dynamics if that's something that we need, which is nice because we also have a compressor in here. That's one thing that I think every synthesizer should have. It kind of sometimes bothers me when there's not a compressor in there, because sometimes you're doing something crazy, there's a lot of dynamics or arpeggios or crap like that, and you really want to just squeeze things down, you know, kind of control that bad boy. So, for example, I kind of do like checking out the chorus. It's kind of one of the first things I do. So this chorus here, let's check this guy out. Let's kind of bring this up here. Maybe you dial back the filter envelope for now and bring down a resonance. And I kind of like dialing the speed down a little bit. If you're kind of familiar with my videos, the speed or the rate, and kind of just increasing the depth a little bit. And then what we can do is maybe add a little bit of delay, and this is kind of nice because we can kind of just look at this real quick and say like, what do we want? Because sometimes I've always felt like I have to dial in every little single tiny thing, but sometimes it's kind of nice to have things like this, right? So if you want like a delay wide or something like that. And for the most part, it's kind of already there what we need. Maybe like I would probably dial down the mix a little bit, maybe increase the high dampening just a bit. Maybe increase the low as well. And then maybe something for the end, maybe just a little bit of reverb. And I'm a sucker for plate reverbs. I just love them so much. They're so nice. Maybe a little bit less on the decay here. And kind of dial in their frequency. Maybe something around there. Okay, so that's some of the stuff here for the effects. So what we could do here, let's kind of dial these down just a little bit so we're not doing too much of the stuff here. So something I would do right off the bat is kind of pop in an EQ and maybe kind of fix things. And we do have an equalizer right over here, which is nice. We can pop this guy on, maybe bring back the high end a little bit. Maybe something like that. And just clear it up a bit. Okay, so that's pretty cool for now, and this glitch thing is pretty cool. I was like, wow, this is even a thing. This is kind of amazing. So what we're looking at here is we have a couple of different things to choose from. So basically parameters that we would want to change in real time. So we have repeat, gate, pan, tremolo, low pass, high pass, bit crush, degrade, detune, and pitch slide. Which the pitch slide is pretty cool, right? So if we did something kind of down like this here, and actually turn this on. Definitely kind of cool there. So what was one sound like? And we can always double click this to go back to the defaults. And the pan's kind of cool as well. So we can always click this and turn this on and off if we want to. But for example, let's say maybe on some of these, we want to kind of move things around just a little bit. And I believe the bit crush is kind of fun too as well. So if we did something kind of rhythmical, so maybe I guess a couple of these like that. Or even a degrade as well, kind of follow that as well. Kind of a cool way to get a little bit of motion going on. And if we want this to go a little bit faster, we can increase the speed here and it can go just a little bit faster, something like that. And then over here, it's always nice making ARPs because we always like making ARPs on the channel because ARPs are really amazing. So for now, I'm going to turn off this glitch here and kind of focus here on the ARP. So this one's kind of interesting to look at, right? So if we click any of these blocks here, that's basically turning these on, right? We can turn down our sustain for now to kind of focus in on this a little bit. And if we want to change the pitch, we can either just scroll up on our mouse wheel, which is kind of really cool to do it like that. And then once we get up to 12, it just goes up to the next block. So you don't always have to just scroll. You can just like deselect this and click one octave up and kind of make a sequence if you want to do that. Maybe make something interesting like this here with one little note. And with some drums here. But yeah, this thing has been a lot of fun, and the manual is very long, which is really cool. That's one thing I do like reading is the manual. And sometimes you get synthesizers and there's like, I don't know, 10 pages and there's so much to cover, and it kind of sucks that it's that long or that short, but it's kind of nice how long this one is, and it seems very well documented. And that's kind of what I do to go to sleep at night, is just read a manual until I fall asleep, and that brings me peace. So basically, long story short, this synth is pretty cool. Thank you again for Tone2, Tone2, Jesus Christ, for sending this over to me. This is pretty cool. We're going to bring this in rotation for the voting, because this thing is actually pretty cool, and it seems like there's a lot to discover here. So if you're curious about it, check out the demo, see if you like it, play around with it. There's a lot of filters, and that's kind of one thing that I'm really picky about is filters. So yeah, hopefully I may have opened your eyes a little bit, because my eyes were opened. I was enlightened by this thing here. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.